šios sesijos pranešėjas yra Europos humanitarinių universiteto doktorantas Janas Novikas. Jo pranešimo tema Kantian Dualism as a response to the situation of the culture of Borderland, the philosophy Marian Massonius.
Baba viskas. Mes išgelbėjome.
Labas dienas. First and foremost, I would like to thank you to organizers and personally for Marian. It's not a rhetorical ritual, but I really do appreciate this opportunity. It's reminding me of good old days when we was working, my former colleagues in Belarus and my contemporary colleagues in Lithuania was one team, and I really do hope that all this nightmare will end and we will work as before. So, about Marian Massonius. He, in the days when he was elected in Russian Duma, and I think another thing should be said. In the next year, we are celebrating the big data date. We have 300 from the birth of the Kant. So I think it's first step in this celebration. Some biography. Marian Massonius was born in Kursk, but he came from the noble Shyaka family connected with Novik. His father was Massonius, and mother, Helena Cisnova, daughter of Martin Cisnov from us, and friend of Adam Mickiewicz. He graduated from the music gymnasium and at the University of Russia. Then he continued his education in the University of Leipzig and also attended courses in philosophy, pedagogy, studies, history of art in Berlin, Prague, and he defended his doctoral thesis. He becomes transcendental aesthetic. Then he returned in Russian Empire to the Petersburg, where he worked in the editor office of the Prague, cooperating with Vladimir Spasovich. Then he moves to Russia, actively publishes his articles in Voz, Pavane, Wisla, now as a Polska, was editor of Warszawska and Reform. Worked in editorial office of Czerwonki Zakiczny. As I said, he was elected in Russian First National Duma and was member of the group Związek Ekonomistów i Kapitalistów. Worked as a teacher in where Scaring Gymnasium, then moves with the First War in Minsk. He became head of the college gymnasium in Minsk, where one of his pupils was Jerzy Bedrowicz. He was head of the Dziennik Miński, and was one of the members of the committee that worked on the establishment of Belarusian University in Minsk. He establishes and headed Władysław Sarakowiak Polish Gymnasium in Oswiecim. And from the 1920, he works as a lecturer of philosophy at the University of Stefan Batory. In 1922, he became dean of the humanities department, and also he taught in Sejmów for Czesław Miłosz. He was buried in the Vilnius Community Cemetery. So that's all. So, big style. About his philosophy, I think at the first glance, philosopher Marian Massonius is a personal paradox and historical philosophical enigma. First, the most characteristic feature of his creative evolution was virtually complete absence of religion. Having brought his view to the German lens, a set of neo-Kantian ideas and views expressed in his 1989 total interpretation, he would stuck to them and would not change his ideas and views until his death. We find the same position on the Kantian philosophy in his rehabilitative work, in his draft Garab Novik, which he wrote in the 1920s, and his correspondence with Marian in the 1930s. So such important concepts as developments before and after this usual narrative toolkit of the historian philosophy doesn't involve in the relation of Massonius focus of place. As if Athena from the Hero to Zeus, he appeared before us with a ready-made theological position, and he will adhere to the entire. Second, Massonius' attitude to Kant's philosophy is no less paradoxical. Angel knows characterize its relations as largely becoming stable, and I will agree. This is the first page of his portrait of physicists, and I'd like to say some words about developments between Adolf Trendelenburg and Fischer, known in English researchers mainly integrated alternative, but in German it's Luca. So Adolf Trendelenburg thought that he found this integrated alternative in Kant's work, and he insisted that also, although the critic of realism in this way with subjectivity and intuitivity of space, Kant should disprove the possibility of their simultaneous achieved activity should disprove the possibility of their simultaneous achieved activity and subjectivity are not in relation to conjunction, and therefore it is possible that the form of space are both subjective and objective. And Gunnar Fischer thought that the only one who is wrong is Trendelenburg, but he doesn't understand the Kantian distinction between subjective and objective, because Kant has two different understandings of this dichotomy, empirical and transcendental. The forms of space have universal meaning and applicability because they empirical objective and because they are transcendental subjective. So, Massonius critic of Kant, which I can name analytical, even in the sense of analytic philosophy, because we think very similar. We find, first of all, in his thesis, with Kant's entire statement. This is in the first stage we find the words Borderland and Jonathan Sandesky dedicated to the memory of Jan Sandesky. And Massonius criticism of Kant, which is precisely criticism, unlike the Kantian use of the word in the sense of condemnation and almost abuse, can be reduced to the following strategies. He repeats after Trendelenburg his argumentation. Kant was able to justify the pluralism and continuity of the concept of space, but was unable to refute or even think about the possibility of their simultaneous extension to things in itself. Not having been refuted, such possibility remains in the status of hypothetical and should be entirely satisfy natural sense. It was the hypothetical status that was claimed by all philosophers and natural scientists before Kant, and only the later attempt of philosophy with the separate appearance of adequate knowledge. This is a characteristic attention for modalities that distinguish the approach of Massonius. Massonius distinguished the concept of round and rounded space and spatiality. If Kant's arguments can be considered valid, they apply only to the space as empty and infinite permeability. But they do not apply to spatiality, i.e., the concrete geometry of things. If space can be referred to the form of perception, which we possess a very spatiality, is given only through the impact of external things. Massonius contrasts Kant's arguments with analogy of color and color vision. We have the predisposition for color vision, but we do not have specific colors in our minds. He gave this color example, for example, triple Russian flag, white, red, and white. So he writes that these powers of this tribe we see as objective characteristics, but their space arrangement, spatial arrangement is subjective to the plant, and it doesn't work like this. And it's rather interesting that we find the same strategy of thinking in Wittgenstein and Wittgenstein. This is one of the contemporary Kantians who also thinks about concept of space in this line. Rather interesting. Then, having accepted Kant thesis in order of implementation, Massonius refutes them through reduction of absurdum. If space is a form of our sensitivity, how can we say that the influence of external things is the basis of our perception? This is not a new argument. It was voiced in the first readers of the critique. What is new is Massonius strong. He voices this criticism with indignation and almost contempt. And the strategy I named by the first to recognize them, Massonius accuses Kant of all the errors of his followers and say that due to his endeavors, the metaphysical orgy and Valkyrian lies of reason began. Historical critique of Kant. First of all, this is defined in his article Rationalism for the Poznanian Kant. A more detailed and elaborate criticism of Kant from the point of history as a whole we can find in Massonius later Polish language works, primarily in Rationalism for the Poznanian Kant. In his doctoral thesis, Massonius was rather strict towards Kant, then moving to those general historical philosophical configuration, he became simply biased. His criticism sounds like a personal offense. He thought that only the first 10 pages of the reason was written out. The rest is the product of degenerate rationalism and dreamlike metaphysics in the spirit of Christian work. He's a historian of philosophy, Marian Massonius, and he's the author of one of the first synthetic works in the history of Polish philosophy, as well as numerous articles of Polish and European philosophers. Proceeds from the eternal struggle between rationalism and empiricism. By this, he doesn't mean specific parents of the 70s and 19th centuries, but two eternal ways of philosophizing. He refers to Augustine and medieval scholastics as rationalists. In his narrative of the constant struggle between two forces, he inscribes his criticism of Kant. He thought that the very reform of philosophy conceived by primitive philosopher was an empiricist in spirit. The very idea of beautiful of reason is one of the most profound and fruitful ideas, but it's also himself could stick to it only for 1,000 pages and with the book of the same name. The rest is the exact opposite of his criticism. And moreover, with equal right, we can attribute the discovery of idea to criticism to humor. Even the rationalists of the past didn't allow themselves such elementary and childish mistakes as Kant, and therefore they have unconditional advantage over Kant as pragmatists. All the Kant's metaphysical constructions do not stand to any specific criticism. They all are products of hate and degenerate rationalism, which he found is full fulfillment of the Christian wolf and has had no future since then. So, as I said, we have this problem, enigma. Massonius had all of his intellectual life rather same ideas. His criticism of Kant was very strict. Kant made childish mistakes, worse than which the whole previous history of thought hadn't known. Kant was able to stick his own character idea, the beauty of pure reason, only in dozens of pages. And even in this very idea, Kant is no more than a human. And yet, despite all this radical criticism of Kant, and it is to the philosopher from Königsberg that Massonius returns again and again. His creative path can be metaphorically described as the flies of the night moth who strives for the candle, gets burned, and returns again and again. All these paradoxes and riddles of Massonius philosophy can be, in my opinion, resolved if it is properly contextualized. In Kant's philosophy and his characteristic realism, he sought a solution for his own split, which he understood as a division of Polish thought as such. This is an article that Marian mostly person. Along with the division of reason and faith, he wanted to divide, as he believed, empiricism and pragmatism, characteristic of Polish mentality, and metaphysicality, characteristic of Philippines. So, as while Kant himself regarded this realism with it, he doesn't know if he really read Faust, but he could repeat after Goethe's Faust, zwei Seelen wollen nach meinem Brust. Massonius embodied his application in the figures of Jan Sendetsky and Adam Mickiewicz, who he sought as two patrons of Polish thought, which has this currents of empiricism and physicality, but the physicality should be restricted only for poetry and which is not. That's all. Archer.
Thank you very much. It was interesting to listen to your presentation. And I have one small question. To listen to your presentation. And I have one small question. I'd like to ask about the arguments of the thought. The characteristic feature of movement is physicality. What are the arguments for this idea?
One is rather interesting. He writes that when he was working on editorial boards of those Russian journals, he received nearly every week the book of enormous content. He writes like 5, 8 hundreds of pages from Novik means region, where local Schlachter wrote, I found a solution to every problem in philosophy. He writes, look, they all so metaphysical. The only thing they are doing when they live in village, writing some metaphysical stuff. No, then it is about Mickiewicz, and he writes that before Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, Polish thinking was only empirical, only pragmatical, and nothing metaphysical can be found.
Tudo bem correndo. Yeah.